Hi everybody, this is Josh with Josh Wright Piano TV. I'm happy to be here with you tonight. We're going to look at Chopin Mazurka Op.67 No. 4. Just a quick word, I am recording on a keyboard. First of all, I'm doing my second year of my doctoral studies at the University of Michigan, and I practice during the day and I attend class, and so late at night is the only time I have to record these videos. And since we live in an apartment, I have this keyboard that I practice on at night. I realize some of you may not have access to a grand piano at all times, so we're going to see what we can do with this and show you some possibilities as well of how to practice even if you just have a keyboard. If you have access to a grand piano, always use that because it will help your technique develop better. But this is just great for night practicing. You can plug in a pair of headphones and bother no one. We're going to keep this volume a little bit lower just since we have neighbors and it's late at night right now. But let's dive in and get started. This is one of the most beautiful pieces. If you guys haven't heard it, I don't know if the video is still up, but you need to go online and listen to Sergei Babayan's recording. I've had the great privilege of working with Babayan on several Chopin pieces, and he is just brilliant. I love him as a person, and as a pianist, I believe he is unparalleled by anyone, really. He has a certain flair for color and imagination that you won't find in any other pianist to the exact same degree. Certain pianists have their strengths, but he is the real deal. I would love for each of you to go onto YouTube and find this recording that he has. This is the A minor. Now, I have never actually played this. I've taught it, so this will be a little rough. I might have some mistakes in here. But let me just give you a little idea of how it goes. Sorry. People often say the Mazurka is the hardest of Chopin's genres, and I think I would have to agree. I also find his sonatas to be extremely challenging, just to hold everything together and to really make it sound organic. But these are very hard. People say that you actually cannot play them properly unless you have Polish blood in you. So I don't know if that's true, but we're going to expose some of the secrets about Mazurkas. They're not really secrets at all. It's just a little bit of information that will help you. Realize that the Mazurka is a Polish dance. These are really beautiful, but kind of raw dances. They're not the refined courtly dances that you hear, in Bach with these passepieds and minuets. You wanna make these a little bit more free-spirited, just as if it's not for the royalty. This is for everyone. So you can use a lot of rubato is what I'm getting at. Rubato meaning to steal, robbing. I believe that's the interpretation of it. If not, you can leave a comment below and tell me the correct interpretation. But basically meaning the push and pull of time. And there's a big argument among everyone how much rubato is necessary, and it's up to you. If you feel it a certain way, you should go with that. You should follow your natural instincts. Chopin himself has many great quotes talking about the flexibility of interpretation. His students were notorious for coming one week and he would say, do a crescendo there. And then the next week, oh, no, do a diminuendo, or feel a little bit of sense of time here, or put a little inflection here. He can never make up his mind. We see a lot of different markings in his editions as well. So if someone says to you, that's wrong, in this edition it says this, that's just one edition. That's one way of interpreting Chopin's works. So don't get too caught up in doing it the right way. Get caught up in doing it in the most beautiful way as possible. The first thing that I have to expose, or that I have to teach to each of you, if you don't already know this, is balance is absolutely key in these Mazurkas. Sorry, okay. We don't want this. You don't want to let these get heavy at all. That's basic advice. You need to be doing that if you're going to play something as difficult as a mazurka. Okay, the second thing, along these terms of rubato, I like to feel it's a creative impulse. Now, in order to get this, you have to do a lot of listening and imitate for a while. A lot of people say, don't listen to recordings, it's a bad idea. I think of it this way. If you're going to study physics, you can get the textbook, but it will go much quicker if you just go to the professor and get help if you don't understand something. I suck at physics. I had the hardest time with it in high school. So I know that if it weren't for my professor, I would have been sunk. So it's always good to do a lot of listening. I had somebody say, how would you like to do a lesson with Rubinstein? I'd say, oh my gosh, I would love it. I mean, he's gone now, but I would have given anything to do that. Or, okay, and then he said, how about Horowitz? And I said, oh, wow, that is just incredible. I would love that. And he said, you can take a lesson with them every day of your life. Listen to their recordings. That is a better lesson than they could actually even just teach you. Now, whether that last statement is true, if they could teach it more effectively, but I don't think, I think that statement is fairly true. You can learn so much from a recording that they couldn't tell you in a lesson. There just wouldn't be enough time for them to tell every nuance. So sitting and dissecting, someone that I just worship their playing is Murray Pariah. I love his tone quality. I remember when I was younger, I was working on Beethoven 4th Concerto, and there's this little passage. That, I just loved the way Pariah did that. It was so light, and I got it to sound somewhat like his. I mean, it's not exactly, and I know I'm nowhere near as good as Pariah is, but to get that lightness and just that airiness, I had to listen over and over and over, and I finally had the realization of what he was doing to get that sound. So listen a lot, and listen to that Babayan recording if you can find it. B-A-B-A-Y-A-N is how you spell his last name. So getting back to this rubato, notice the accents in this piece. This is the Paderewski edition, and I have an accent over the first note. Does that mean I kill that note? No. It means I lean into it, or I take time. Accents are very loosely interpreted in Chopin's music. You can do a variety of things, but what it's saying is this needs to be expressed. It's not an ordinary note, so do something with it. I'm going to interpret it as a little bit of a volume thing and a little bit of a time lapse. I want to give a little extra time, because whenever you suspend time, it's like an ocean wave. It's like it's just gone in and it's just waiting up at the top, and then it comes back, which propels another wave. So this, wait, and then go into this, and this will push this forward and then back off. Wait, push forward. Okay, now a little faster. Sorry. Now, whether you're going to do it exactly like that, I don't care. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it how you feel it, but always be strategic with how you bend your time. You don't want to do something like this. The extremity of that, the extremes of taking time in random places, you always want it to breathe. You want it to be like a sentence. If I'm going to give emphasis on that word, I'm going to flow out of the rest of the sentence. I'm not going to say a sentence like this. I love this piece of music. I'm not going to emphasize every word. I'm going to say, I love this piece of music, or I love this piece of music. You know, it depends on how you want to say it. Rubato is just like speech. Moving on. Notice the little, again, this is Paderewski edition. It may not be in your edition. Every edition's a little different, but he marks a diminuendo going to piano here, and then another diminuendo. So do we suddenly jump back up and get big? And then accent? No, these, I want to tell everybody this. This is a gem of wisdom about Chopin's music. The diminuendos, or crescendos can often mean a means of expression. They don't always mean get louder and softer. If you see a diminuendo, you can, the way I like to think about it, and it's not always the case, it doesn't always work this way, but a lot of times it does. When the dynamic should be the biggest, like at the end of a crescendo or the beginning of a diminuendo, I like to take a little time there and then flow out of it. So time, and if you hear that in Babayan's recording, oh my gosh, it's just the most lovely thing you've ever heard in your life. So you can caress that, and then when you get into this section down in this A major section, sorry, let's see. Bring a new spirit to it, because we've just got out of this very depressing A minor. And this C sharp is just like the ultimate sweetening. Very melodic and expressive. Take your time. This is just pure joy to sit and read through this with you guys. These pieces are the heart and soul of Chopin. Discover the mazurkas. And remember, the most important piece of wisdom that I gave you guys tonight, I know it's a piece of wisdom because my current teacher here taught this to me 1 year ago. I did not know this before then. The crescendos and diminuendos can be interpreted as means of expression and time, not always just as dynamics or measurable levels of sound. So have fun with the rubato and experiment a lot, listen a lot to the great masters of Chopin. And there are so many, I won't even attempt to name all of them, but a few of my favorites along with Babayan are Arthur Rubinstein. There is Garrick Olson. He is a great pianist, very intellectual man. He won the Chopin International. Christian Zimmerman. You can start with those and then explore so many others. I know I'm leaving a million people out here, so don't be mad about that. But I'm having so much fun making these videos. If any of you have questions, send me an email at josh@joshwrightpiano.com. Also, if you'd like to audition for online lessons through Skype, shoot me an email at the same address. Thanks so much for joining me today.